This week, I want to talk to you about how to stay positive while you're searching for your first IT job, as well as some things to look out for and some next steps that you can take to improve. Justin here with Succeeded IT. I will be your IT career coach, helping you start and grow a career in IT into something you love and create the success you want. Let's get into it. My original plan for the video this week was to talk about how to interview well, but I want to take some more time to work on that video, and I've noticed that my videos just keep getting longer and longer. So this week I want to take a step back and let's just talk about how to stay positive while you're searching for a job. We can discuss interviewing next week. I want to give you some kudos if you've been working towards getting your first IT job. It takes a lot of work and it can be a little bit tough sometimes. You may have applied to dozens of companies by now without even getting anywhere, but you have to stay positive. So here's a few things I want you to consider. Number one, be okay with rejection. One of the best things that you can do to succeed in life or in finding a job is to be good with rejection. This is going to happen. It is inevitable. You can't apply for jobs without being rejected, but you don't want to let this get you down. Rejection can kind of be like a slippery slope, where if you get rejected, you kind of bring some negativity into yourself. You like internalize negativity, and then you start to bring that negativity to the next company, and this can become like a downward spiral of rejection and negativity. And it's, like I said, it's a slippery slope. You don't want to end up getting jaded by this, because if you continue to go down this path of negativity, it will be a detriment and it's going to hurt you in the long run. Instead, think of rejection kind of like going fishing. There's going to be a lot of fish that are going to go swimming around your hook, and they might not bite, but that's okay. You know, you can change your bait, you can go somewhere else to fish, and eventually you're going to catch a fish. But there's going to be a lot of fish that go by without catching any, and that's just part of life. Just keep going and stay positive, and eventually you're going to get that bite or you're going to get that call. Okay, tip number two, don't be needy. By now, I'm going to assume that you've applied for a lot of jobs, and maybe you haven't heard anything back from these employers at all. It's good to reach out and follow up with a job application after a couple weeks. That's fine. But if you still haven't heard anything after even sending a follow-up message, it's probably best to just let it be and don't continue to follow up repeatedly over and over and over. This just doesn't look good and it comes across as needy. It can be tough because sometimes you apply for a job at a company you really want to work for, and you might not hear anything, and you're contacting them again and you're really hoping to hear something, and it can create this kind of internal tension. And if you're not careful, you'll just continue to follow up. And like I said, it comes across kind of negative. Instead, just think about the next opportunity. You know, if you don't hear anything back after following up, just let it go. Water under the bridge. Follow up with the next company, stay positive, and just keep searching. Additionally, if you have followed up with a company that you're really excited about working for and you still haven't heard anything back, then maybe this isn't actually the company you want to be working for anyway, and just take it as a sign and move on. Okay, my positivity tip number three is avoid imposter syndrome. As you go through this process, you might start to feel what a lot of us in IT call imposter syndrome. Imposter syndrome is really common, and it probably happens to everybody in IT. And this is where you start to doubt yourself. You start to have a feeling that maybe you don't know what you're talking about, and maybe you're not ready for this job, or you're not, who you think you were. This can start to create a really insecure feeling, and the feeling that you are an imposter. And you don't really want to continue thinking this because it's a really negative thought, and you can carry this forward into your next calls and have self-doubt. You just need to stay confident and remind yourself that IT is not all about knowing everything. Nobody's going to know everything in IT. Just be confident that you have the skills to figure out how to solve problems and search for resolutions and ask the right questions and follow up with people. That's really what it takes to be successful, and I'm sure you can do that. You're going to do great. My tip number 4 is to make sure you apply early. Typically speaking, job recruiters have a lot on their plates. They're contacting a lot of potential employees. They're interviewing a lot. They're sifting through hundreds of resumes. And a lot of times they'll be already down the road with certain candidates while you have already applied, and they might not get to you. And this is just a matter of not applying early enough and not getting into the interviewing process at the right time. An example of this is that I've had a few times where I've applied for jobs and I never hear anything back, and I kind of wonder, well, why am I not hearing anything? And so I go back and I look at the job listing and I realize that the job posting was posted 2 months ago. And realistically, 2 months is enough time to go by where the recruiters have already brought in a lot of candidates, sifted through a bunch of resumes, and probably have started the interview process with a few candidates. And if they've already started interviewing a few candidates to take the job, and you then send your resume, odds are they're not even going to look at your resume because they've got other things to do. It's not against you, it's just that time is valuable and they've already gone through the process and they already have candidates that are much further down the road. So again, this is all about making sure you find the jobs that you want to apply for early enough and get in on the ground floor of the job search process. My tip number 5 is don't be afraid to change it up. Maybe you've heard this, but the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over and over and expecting different results. If you've taken all of these tips into account and you've applied to lots of different companies and you still aren't hearing anything, then there might be something you want to change, because again, you can't expect different results if you keep doing things the same way. Are you being thorough? Are you researching the companies you want to work for? Are you being really effective in communicating with them about who you are and what you're looking for in a job, and being sincere with them in your communications? Just look at everything that you're doing and maybe just take a step back in your mind and put yourself in their shoes and think about how you're going about this. Are you reaching out to the right people? Are you saying the right things? Is your resume good? Maybe you've got some friends or some family that you can ask for honest feedback from about how your resume looks, how your communications sound, and maybe that third person perspective will give you some ideas on maybe what's not working or something that you're saying that is maybe turning people off or anything like that. But like I said, if you've applied to dozens of companies and you still haven't heard anything, you definitely want to make sure you change things up and think about what you're doing. So that's pretty much it for today. I knew this was going to be a short video, and I'm kind of glad it is, because the last few have been really long and we just I think we all need to take a step back. So stay positive, keep fishing, don't worry about whether or not you're hearing things back. Just make sure you always bring a positive energy into each application and each interview that you end up going into. Let me know if you have any questions. Put some down in the comments. I'd love to hear from you. If you like what I'm doing here, give me a like, subscribe to my channel. I'm going to keep putting out a new video every Tuesday. Next week, we're going to jump right back into how to interview well, and I'll see you then.